People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good morning to you on this Saturday morning. The weather's lovely, Friday was lovely, and today's amazing, people. Now I'm up as you know. The deadline for the FPL was 11:30. I'm out here trying to see who I should put in my team and that. And I was on Twitter and I saw on Twitter, is it Arsenic? I can never say his name correctly, but one of the best Twitter accounts in terms of Arsenal information. He put up around 4 hours ago that it's a year to the day since Wenger announced he was going to step down from his job at Arsenal. And I'm not here to obviously I'm going to speak about where we are as a. Let me fix this up. This is bugging me. Cool. But obviously I'm going to speak about it, but I'm not here to bash or praise Arsene Wenger. I'm here to praise Unai Emery, of course, but I'm not here to put his credentials against Wenger or any other prospective candidates. My purpose of this video is simply just to. Obviously, if it's a year since Wenger's announced he was going to leave, and it's a year since the day, it shows how quick football is, man. And to be fair, I've got just some, I don't know, man, just some thoughts. Where are they? So obviously, we're still largely in uncharted waters. I mean, we had Wenger, regardless of what you think of him, for 20 plus years. Unai Emery, for as good as I believe he's been at points this season, the season's not done. So we're still in uncharted waters as a football club. We don't know where we're at. But yeah, personally, a year on, twists and turns and things in this season. In fact, we'll get on to that. I feel it's been a good season. I feel we're in a good place as a football club. Obviously, we'd like to be a bit more competitive in terms of off the field and on it. We're making progress in regards to commercial stuff, and we was doing that when Wenger was still the manager. We was playing catch up. But I'm happy with where we are as a football club. Like I said, this season's been many twists and turns, and many narratives have been written. At first, it was all a learning curve for Unai Emery. Nobody expected us to do anything, especially when you consider the first two games of the season. We went on the unbeaten run. We had a bit of a wobble, and I know a lot of you are saying, some people are getting in my comments and saying, "Why did you give Unai Emery a 5 out of 10 or whatever at the point?" Those of you who watch my videos or actually listen to what I said at the time, for context, with the Arsenal Fan TV, that review was done prior to us versus Spurs away. We had a bit of a wobble, and then obviously we've gone through that and we've turned it around. So for me personally, Unai Emery's on course to get an 8 or 9 out of 10. To be fair with you, in my opinion, it's a 7 now, like I said previously. But you get the point. There's been twists and turns. We've hit form at the best time. When did we hit form? Let's say around March. We're in May. We hit form. We're winning games. Even of late, we've hit an even purple patch, if that makes sense, because slyly we're doing all right in terms of clean sheets and how we're playing, sort of thing. So we've hit form at the right time, and the team that nobody expected to do anything could actually finish as high as third, hoping Spurs mess up. We might actually not get top 4, so we still need to fight. No conclusions can be drawn, but for me personally, I feel Unai Emery's got us in a good way of working. I feel he's had the season where he's had to test his own abilities. We've all made mistakes. Unai Emery be the first to hold his hands up. He's done a lot right this season and he deserves a lot of praise. And I'm sure by that same logic, when he looks at games like Palace, West Ham, collectively, he would see where he could have possibly done better. And I feel him and the players, they're getting more of an understanding, to be fair, in regards to their tactics and their approach, and they're starting to understand each other. You see what I'm saying? Because of how long they've had to work together now. So you can see how long it takes to really, really bed in a different way of playing. We're in March now, May, so well, approaching May. We're in late April. It's probably going to take another season or so for us to fully play and do what Unai Emery wants, but I feel we're in a good position in terms of that. When Unai Emery was announced as the manager, I was happy. You lot saw my vids. I said I think I have one specific vid where I said he excites and scares me. He excites me because you're seeing what he's doing. He scares me because he strikes me as someone that's a bit radical in his approach, and again, the fear of the unknown. I wouldn't say it was a healthy fear, because I didn't know what to expect, and you wouldn't know what to expect post Arsene Wenger because he's been here for 20 years. And I wouldn't say he's won me over because he's always had me, but you see what I'm saying? It's like Wenger was never here, sort of thing. I don't want to be disrespectful to him, but you see what I mean. For me, first and foremost, I like how there's some we're united at the moment as a football club. There's been times where there's been divisions this season, but we're united. It's not what you've seen previously with the fighting and all of these things. We're united. We're fighting against other people. We're showing some fight on and off the field. We're not perfect and we're not all the way there, but I'm liking how everybody's united, how everybody's just supporting the team, how Unai Emery supports the team. I like how Unai Emery is quite honest as well in his press conferences. Obviously, he can't give too much away, but he doesn't lie to us really and truly. I like him what I see from him, man. He's improved players, of course. I mean, Lacazette's a sick player, so I wouldn't say he's necessarily improved him, but he has because we haven't seen him. Lacazette's got more goals than he got last season, and in all comps and assists as well. So he's doing his thing. Fair enough, Iwobi's not the most prolific in front of goal, but for instance, he's had his best goal scoring season. You see, in players like, sadly, not Monreal, Holding and Bellerin before they got injured were improving. So players are improving, players are fighting, players are in. You see what I'm saying? Players are taking in what Unai Emery has to say and things, and I feel we're in a good position. A year on, it could have went worse. It could have been a bit like David Moyes and stuff. It could have been Uren and Aaron, and to a degree, we still are doing that under Unai Emery. To be fair, there's a small section of fans that actually don't like him as the manager. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I think he's charismatic, but maybe it's because he's not a. I wouldn't call Wenger a big character, but you know how Wenger was a big character in regards to post-game and pre-game. Jose the same. Maybe it's not because he's one of them, but none of that matters to me. I just want him to do his thing on the football field, and I feel he's doing that, man. There's no division. Players are progressing. We've got someone who's cerebral in his approach, and I think the only things I could say with Unai Emery where he's possibly gone wrong is, like everybody, there's been games where the tactics were a bit off. He probably tinkered a bit too much, and maybe at a point when he wasn't playing Ozil, Ramsey, Lacazette and Aubameyang together on a frequent period, like playing your best players or your best players in certain positions, we were having a bit of a wobble. They're the only two criticisms I can find of Unai Emery. And obviously, if we were to, even though I didn't think we was going to get top four, and it would still be a good season for me, if we don't get top four from this position, then it's only right you ask question marks. I'm not saying to sack him or anything, but you ask question marks of the manager and of the players, because to lose it from this position like anyone else would be gutting. But I think Emery's proved a lot of doubters wrong. I still think he's got a lot of people to convince because he hasn't won a title yet or anything, and there's still the Wolves out for him. But I think considering it's a brave task, man, considering he went from a job at PSG to this, two polar opposites. You've gone from people that have an unlimited checkbook to serious austerity measures at Arsenal. Obviously, some people have tried to batter his reputation with the whole PSG going out the Champions League thing. So it was brave for him to come here, come into a project where he'd have to rebuild and things and try and move forward. And I feel he can use Arsenal to rebuild his reputation from some idiots that have kind of doubted him. My only worry with Unai Emery is that, obviously, as much as I love him and he wants to obviously manage Arsenal, and we can't ignore the fact that, for my next point to make sense, I have to say this, we can't ignore the fact that he knew the job he was stepping in, and that he wasn't going to have money to buy certain marquee sort of players. He knew that sort of role. But my fear is, if Unai Emery continues this and he keeps going on good, he's not an Arsenal man in the sense that Arsenal was Wenger's somewhat love child. He's not someone who's a former player and he's come through at Arsenal. What I mean by that is, well, let's say it takes 2 to 3 years to rebuild us. Let's just say by year 3, we can play several systems that Unai Emery wants to implement and things like that. He's got the personnel he wanted, similar to Pochettino at Spurs. Like, it's even mad. Like, he's got them in semi-final, potentially a final for Spurs. If he takes us to that level and the investment possibly doesn't come, will he get frustrated? You heard Guillaume Balaguer say that Atletico and Madrid are eventually monitoring him. He is a Spanish man. He might want to move back to his homeland. If he feels that he's taken Arsenal as far as he can without proper resources to get certain players, he might think, all right, cool, it's time to do the Madrid thing, it's time to do the Atletico thing. I've done what I need to do at Arsenal. I've got them back in the top 4. I've rebuilt my reputation and their reputation. Competitive squad, because he's not true. Because I guess what I'm saying is, he's not drawn to Arsenal like that. If he's not getting certain things, would you not? I wouldn't call it jumping ship, but would you think, all right, cool, I've done enough here? Because he strikes me as someone that doesn't mix his words and is not on the BS sort of thing, people. Like, again, he knew the structure he was coming into and the model he was coming against as well. So my point kind of doesn't make sense. And to a degree, I have to consider all senses. Could that possibly been an attraction to the role for Unai Emery, in that he's going to need time? People aren't going to be on his back as much. We have to consider the all angles, people, because PSG, everything you're doing is scrutinised. Arsenal, to a degree, of course, the same, but you get what I'm saying. But we're going left and right. I think we've made sound progress so far as a football club specific to on-field matters. We're doing quite well on Unai Emery. Regardless of if he was to come 5th or 6th this season, there would still be, because I think mathematically we still can, there would be question marks over him and the playing staff, but he would still be the man for me. Obviously, if we can get fourth, third, fourth, and the Europa League final, that's a 25 out of 10 season. For me, currently, he's on course to get a 7 out of 10. Prior to, obviously, the Spurs game in that period, it was a 5 out of 10. Purely because I don't know how any other people judge it, but I think he passed every test prior to that. But there was still some more to go. So how can I give someone more than a 5 than that? People will see a 5 and see average and things like that. I can't speak for everyone, but I know how I judge things is completely different to other people and things like that. So he's a 7 out of 10 right now. If the season ended tomorrow, it'd be a 7 out of 10. I think he's done superb in my opinion. At the end of the day, yeah, people will say our away form and things like that, but we went away to Spurs, we didn't lose. We went to Old Trafford, we didn't lose. Do you get where I'm going with that? Obviously, the Liverpool result, we held an L. We've only got a point off Liverpool. Liverpool have been bullying us, but we've got, what, 4 points off Spurs. 4 points off Spurs. When last could we say we've done that, to be fair? And I came supporting Arsenal at the good times in primary school when beating Spurs was a given. So there's that. Obviously, we've taken 4 points off United in the league. So to take 4 off United and Spurs, 2 games, if you look back, the players let Unai Emery down at Old Trafford with silly mistakes after scoring. And obviously, between managers, Aubameyang missing the pen, stupid decisions from the referee and his supporting team was a reason why we didn't beat Spurs. But we're doing all right in our approach to big games. And I feel even that Unai Emery's had to test himself. I think if you look at games like Liverpool away, probably a bit too cautious. When you look at Liverpool at home, Spurs at home, Chelsea when we beat them, when we marry the defensive aspects and the bravery, which I was calling for at several points this season, we're different gravy. And I feel Unai Emery's taking off his mental handbrake, and I think he believes in the players a bit more, because I think a big part of that is because I wouldn't say he doesn't trust these players, but he knows defensively they're a bit naive, so he was doing his best to kind of think about that. Now he's kind of, it's more of not an Arsene Wenger thing, but Arsene Wenger thing in that, cool, you know what, I believe in you, go and do your thing. Now if he doesn't do his thing, stuff gets changed. And I actually like that about Unai Emery, how he doesn't leave things to chance. If you feel someone's ramping or there's a possibility you're hooked, things get changed. I like he's proactive, and what I actually like as well is that he's not afraid to voice things to the ref. Now neither was Wenger, but you see what I'm saying? It's nice. It's nice to see, man. I really like it. I'm impressed with Unai Emery. Obviously, he watches Peaky Blinders as well, so he's got a bit of charisma to himself, man. I really like him, man. Like I said, Arsenal's a bit of a double sword for him because obviously you're a football manager, you want to take as bigger challenges and manage as big a club as you can, and to have Arsenal, PSG and all these teams on your CV is very good. It's a chance to rebuild his reputation as well, because people have said certain things about PSG. So it's a chance to bring Arsenal to a more competitive space, and it's a chance to rebuild his reputation and shut people up, sort of thing. And I think he's relishing that. Like I said, man, hopefully we get top 4 and or the Europa League final. I'd love both, but it's a big test on our squad. But for now, I'm going to keep it moving. I haven't got anything else to say, people. DG, I'm out.